Yes, welcome back everybody. We continue with the past questions, and the next one is number 16. A box of mass 15 kilograms is placed on a rough plane inclined at an angle 60 degrees to the horizontal. If the box is at rest, calculate the normal reaction to the plane. Take G equals 10 meters per second squared. Let's have a sketch of a system. Let this be the inclined plane and this be the horizontal to which it is inclined. This is the horizontal. If this is a body, its weight will act downwards this way, and that weight W is given by mg. Now, the force acting perpendicular to the plane is this. It is mg cos alpha, while the normal reaction of the plane on the body, let me call that R. That's it. The force which tends to move the body down the plane is given by mg sine alpha, and the force which tends, let the force which tends to move it up the plane be F. So those are the forces acting on the body. R, which is a normal reaction, is what we need to find. Mg cos alpha. Alpha is the angle of inclination of the plane to the horizontal, and in this case it is 60 degrees. So that simply means 15 times 10 cos 60 degrees. And when we work that out, that's the same as 75 newtons, which is option B, 75.0. We go to the next, which is number 17. If a fair die is tossed 60 times and the results are recorded in the table, find the probability of obtaining a prime number. The probability of obtaining a prime number is the probability of obtaining a 2 or a 3 or a 5, which is the same as 2 was obtained 10 times, 10 over 60. 60 is a total number of possible outcomes. 3 was obtained 14 times. That means the probability of obtaining 3 is 14 over 60. And 5 was obtained 8 times, which means the probability of obtaining 5 is 8 over 60. And this is the same as 32 over 60, which is simply 8 over 15. So the correct option is D. Now to the next, which is number 18. If 2y squared plus 7 is equal to 3y minus xy, find dy dx. This is an implicit function. So when you differentiate y in it, you attach dy dx to it. Let's go to that. If we differentiate 2y squared, we are going to get 4y. And because it's an implicit function, we attach dy dx to the y that we differentiated. Plus differentiate 7, you get 0. If we differentiate 3y, that will be 3. Because it's an implicit function, we attach dy dx to it. Minus, to differentiate xy, we use the product rule. So we put down the first, differentiate the second. If we differentiate y, we get 1. And because it's an implicit function, we attach dy dx to it. Anytime you differentiate y, you attach dy dx to that derivative. Plus put down the second, which is y, and differentiate the first. That's x. When we differentiate x, we get 1. I didn't attach dy dx here because I didn't differentiate y. So that simply means 4y dy dx equals 3 dy dx. If I open the brackets here, I'm going to have minus x dy dx minus y, which simply means 4 dy dx minus 3 dy dx plus x dy dx equals minus y. And that means 4 minus 3 plus 4y minus 3. This is supposed to be 4y and not 4. 4y dy dx. At times mistakes just seem inevitable, but that's why it's good to always go over your work to correct mistakes if there are mistakes. That's 4y minus 3 plus x times dy dx equals minus y. I just factored dy dx out of the whole of the left hand side, so that means dy dx is equal to minus y over 4y. I can write 4y minus 3 plus x as 4y plus x minus 3. So that's the answer, and the correct option is C, minus y over 4y plus x minus 3. So we go straight to the next, which is number 19. Forces F1, which is 8 newtons, 30 degrees, F2, which is 10 newtons, 150 degrees, and F3, which is k newtons, 240 degrees, are in equilibrium. Find the value of k. Let's have a sketch of those forces. This is what we're going to have if we sketch them. This is the x-axis, this is the y-axis. F1 is 8 newtons acting at an angle 30 degrees, so that's going to be here. That's 30 degrees. F1 equals 8 newtons. F2 is 10 newtons at an angle 150 degrees. If I read 150 this way, it's going to be somewhere around here. 150 degrees will be somewhere around here, so that means this is F2, which is 10 newtons. If this is 150, that simply means this angle is 60 degrees, since we know that 90 plus 60 is 150. So I can just call that 60 degrees. Now F3 is 240. That's going to be somewhere around here, which is k newtons. That's 240 degrees, and it's F3, which is k newtons. So let's move it down a little. Force F3 equals k newtons. If this is 240 degrees, that simply means this angle is 60 degrees. 180 plus 60 is 240. I want to move it up a little. This angle is going to be 60 degrees. So to find k, I know that if the forces are in equilibrium, the sum of horizontal components of forces, which is summation fx, is 0, and the sum of vertical components of forces is also 0. But I want to use the sum of horizontal components to find k. So for uniformity, I'm using the angles they make with the horizontal axis. So this will be 60 degrees, while this will be 30 degrees. Now the horizontal component of the force F1 is 8 cos 60. So that simply means 8 cos 60 degrees. And the horizontal component of the force F2 is 10 cos 60 degrees. It's also 10 cos 60 degrees. While the horizontal component of the force K, the horizontal component of the force K is on the negative x-axis. So it's going to be negative. That will be minus K cos 30 degrees. That means 8 cos 60 plus 10 cos 60 minus k cos 30 equals 0. And that simply means 8 cos 60 is 4 and 10 cos 60 is 5. That simply means 9 minus k cos 30 degrees equals 0. We can check that. 8 cos 60 plus 10 cos 60 and that's 9. 8 cos 6 is 4, and 10 cos 6 is 5. 4 plus 5 is 9. So that simply means 9 equals k cos 30 degrees, which means k equals 9 over cos 30 degrees, and that's 9 divided by cos 30 is root 3 over 2, which simply means 9 times 2 over root 3, and that's 18 over root 3. When we rationalize the denominator, this is what we have, and that's 18 root 3 over 3, which is finally 6 root 3. And the correct option is, sorry about that, and the correct option is, that's number 19. The correct option is C. So that means K is 6 root 3. Now to the next, which is number 20. In triangle PQR, let's have a sketch of a triangle. In triangle PQR, let this be the triangle PQR. PQ is 5i minus 2j. 5i minus 2j. QR is 4i plus 3j. 4i plus 3j. Find RP. RP is the same as going from R to P. RP simply means going from R to P. Movement from R to P is the same as going from R to Q and then from Q to P. Yeah, so that simply means RP is the same as RQ plus QP. That's correct. Which simply means RQ is the opposite of QR. So that means RQ is minus QR, while QP is also the opposite of PQ. So that's minus PQ. And that's the same as minus QR, which is 4i plus, minus into bracket, 4i plus 3j minus 5i minus 2j. So that means minus 4i minus 3j minus 5i plus 2j, which simply means minus 4i minus 5i is minus 9i, and minus 3j plus 2j is minus j. So RP is minus 9, that's number 20. So RP is therefore minus 9i minus j. It's not minus I, minus 9i minus j. And that's option B. Now to the next, which is number 21. A stone is thrown vertically upwards, and its distance s meters after t seconds is given by 12t plus 5 over 2t squared minus t cubed. That's the formula for distance. Use this information to answer questions 21 and 22. Question 21 says, calculate the maximum height reached. At maximum height, I know that velocity is equal to 0. So I need the time taken to reach that maximum height to be able to find the maximum height reached. So if I know S, then I can find a formula for V, which will be ds dt. And that's the same as, that's the derivative of 12 of S, which is the derivative of 12t plus 5 over 2t squared minus t cubed. That will be 12 plus 5 over 2 times 2t minus 3t squared, which means 12, 2 cancels 2, plus 5t minus 3t squared. So that's a formula for V. Now that I know velocity, I know that at maximum height, V is equal to 0. So that simply means 0 is 12 plus 5t minus 3t squared. Now I'm trying to find the time it took to reach the maximum height, which simply means 3t squared minus 5t minus 12 equals 0. And that's 3t squared minus 9t plus 4t minus 12 equals 0, which means 3t into bracket t minus 3 plus 4 into t minus t equals 0, minus 3 equals 0. And that's the same as 3t plus 4 times t minus 3 equals 0, which means 3t plus 4 equals 0, or t minus 3 equals 0. And that means t equals minus 4 over 3, or t equals 3. And we know that t can be negative, so the time taken to reach maximum height is 3 seconds. So the maximum height is therefore, by using the formula for distance at any point is given by 12t, by the formula 12t, s equals 12t plus 5 over 2t squared minus t cubed. So h maximum will be 12 times the time taken to reach the maximum height, which is 3, plus 5 over 2 times 3 squared minus 3 cubed. And that's the same as, if we work this out, we're going to get 31.5 meters. That's 36 plus 3 squared is 9 times 5, 45 divided by 2 is 22.5 minus 27. So 36 plus 22.5 minus 27 is 31.5. Down to the next, which is 22. 22, or maybe I should write this, 36 plus 22.5 minus 27, and that's going to be 36 plus 22.5 minus 27. That's 31.5. I was correct, 31.5 meters. And straight we go to the next, which is number 22. Number 22 says calculate the distance traveled. Calculates as 22. Calculates the distance traveled in the third second. Distance traveled in the third second, let that distance be s, is the same as the distance traveled after 3 seconds minus the distance traveled after 2 seconds. So I'm representing distance traveled after 3 seconds I'm representing distance traveled after 3 seconds with s3, and the distance traveled after 2 seconds with s2. So that simply means s is equal to 12 times 3 plus 5 over 2 times 3 squared minus t cubed, which is 3 raised to power 3, minus the distance traveled after 2 seconds, which is 12 times 2 plus 5 over 2 times 2 squared minus 2 cubed. And that simply means that's going to give us, if we work that out, we're going to get 5.5 meters. This is already 31.5, and this will be 24. This is 24 plus 10, and that's minus 8, which is 34 minus 8, 26. 31.5 minus 26 is 5.5. So that's it. Straight to the next, and the correct option is A. The next one is 23. Number 23. Given that f prime of x is x cubed root x, find f of x. F prime of x is simply the derivative of f of x. So if we already have that and we want to find f of x, that means we have to integrate f prime of x with respect to x. So the integral of f prime of x is going to be the integral of x cubed root x with respect to x. x cubed root x is the same as x times x is the same as x cubed times x raised to the power half, which is x raised to the power 3.5, which is x raised to the power 7 over 2. That's x to the power 7 over 2 dx. And now when I integrate, I'm going to have x raised to the power 7 over 2 plus 1, which is 9 over 2 divided by 9 over 2 plus c. And that means x raised to the power 9 over 2 divided by 9 over 2 means times 2 over 9 plus c. And that simply means 2x raised to the power 9 over 2 over 9 plus c. And that's option A simply. Now to the next, which is number 24. If 1 minus 2x raised to the power 4 is equal to 1 plus px plus qx squared minus 32x cubed plus 16x raised to the power 4. Find the value of q minus p. Here by the binomial expansion formula, 1 minus 2x raised to the power 4 is the same as 4 combination 0, 1 raised to the power 4. The power of 1 will start from 4 and end at 0, while that of minus 2x will start from 0 and end at 4. In other words, the power of 1 decreases across the expansion, while that of minus 2x increases across the expansion. Times minus 2x raised to the power 0, that's the first term, plus 4 combination 1 times 1 raised to the power 3 times minus 2x raised to the power 1 plus 4 combination 2 times 1 raised to the power 2 times minus 2x raised to the power 2 plus 4 combination 3 times 1 raised to the power 3 times 1 raised to the power 1 rather times minus 2x raised to the power 3. And the last term is 4 combination 4 times 1 raised to the power 0 times minus 2x raised to the power 4. Just a quick check, that's correct. So if we compare the standard expansion to the expansion that was given, we'll see that px, the second term in the given expansion, is similar to the second term in the one we wrote out by the formula, and the third term in the given expansion is equivalent to the third term here. So that simply means px is the same as 4 combination 1 times 1 raised to the power 3 times minus 2x raised to the power 1, which simply means px equals 4 combination 1 is 4 times 1, that's 4, times minus 2, that's minus 8x. So if we compare the constants on both sides, that simply means p equals minus 8. And in the same vein, qx squared is similar to 4 combination 2 times 1 raised to the power 2 times minus 2x raised to the power 2, which simply means qx squared equals 4 combination 2 is 6, 1 squared is 1, 6 times 1 is 6, minus 2 squared is 4, and x squared is x raised to the power 2. So that's 6 times 4, that's 24x squared. So if you compare the constants, q will equal to 24, and now q minus p will be 24 minus p, which is minus 8. 24 minus 8, which is 24 plus 8, and that's simply 32. That was an interesting one, and the correct option is D. Now to number 25. Sine x is 12 over 13 and sine y is 4 over 5, where x and y are both acute. Okay, find cos x plus y. That simply means I can find cos x and cos y. So let this be x. It's a right angle triangle. Sine x is 12 over 13, which means opposite over hypotenuse is 12 over 13. By Pythagoras' theorem, this side is going to be 5. I hope I'm correct here. Now that means cos x is going to be adjacent over hypotenuse, which is 5 over 13. And for y, let's put that in the right angle triangle this way. Let this be y. If sine y rather is 4 over 5, that means opposite is 4 and hypotenuse is 5. And by Pythagoras' theorem, this will be 3. So that means cos y is also equal to adjacent over hypotenuse, which is 3 over 5. So cos x plus y, which is given by the formula cos x cos y minus sine x sine y is going to be the same as cos x is 5 over 13 times cos y, which is 3 over 5, minus sine x, which is 12 over 13 times sine y, which is 4 over 5. And that's 15 over 65 minus 48 over 65. And that's minus 33 over 65. So the correct option is C, minus 33 over 65. And straight we go to the next, which is number 26. The first term of an AP is 4, and the sum of the first 3 times is 18. Find the product of the first 3 times. T1 is A, which is, the first term of an AP is 4. T1 is A, which is 4. And the sum of the first 3 times, S3, is given by, of course, we know that the sum of n terms of an AP is given by n over 2 into 2a plus n minus 1d. So that means S3 equals 3 over 2 times 2a, which is 2 times 4 plus 3 minus 1, that's 2 times d. And that's given us, I need to move that back a little. They already gave us S3 as 18, so that means 3 over 2 into bracket 8 plus 2d equals 18, which simply means 3 over 2. I can factor 2 out of 8 and 2d times 2 into bracket 4 plus d equals 18. 2 cancels 2, and that simply means 4 plus, no, 2 cancels 2, and that simply means 3 times 4 plus d equals 18. If I divide both sides by 3, 4 plus d will be equal to 18. 4 plus d will be equal to, if I divide both sides by 3, 4 plus d will be equal to 6. And that means d equals 6 minus 4, which means d equals 2. So I need to find the second and third terms. Second term of an AP is given by a plus d. And that means 4 plus 2, which is 6. And the third term of an arithmetic progression is given by a plus 2d, which is 4 plus 2 times 2. And that's 4 plus 4, which is 8. So therefore, the product of the first 3 terms, which is T1 times T2 times T3, is equal to, what's T1? That's 4 times T2, which is 6, times T3, which is 8. and that's 192. All right, so that's where we stop, and we'll continue from there in the next. Thank you very much, and see you in the next.